Hey there, friend, yes, you, the one scrolling late at night with a heavy heart, maybe wondering if anyone still cares in this cold world. Pull up that blanket, dim the lights just a little, and stay with me till the very last word. Because tonight I'm not just telling you a story, I'm handing you a mirror. A mirror that might reflect someone you love, or maybe even the person staring back at you in the quiet hours. This is the tale of two hearts that refused to let go when the world said it was time to walk away. It's raw, it's real, and if you stick around till the end, I promise you'll close this chapter feeling something you haven't felt in a long time. Hope that kindness still wins. So breathe with me, and let's step into the freezing streets of Chicago together. The wind off Lake Michigan that February night cut like broken glass. Snow swirled under the streetlights in angry spirals, turning the sidewalks of Chicago's Logan Square into a treacherous white carpet. Marcus Ramirez pulled his old wool coat tighter around his shoulders and cursed under his breath as he rounded the corner onto Kedzie Avenue. He wasn't supposed to be out here. His shift at the auto shop had run late, his back ached from crawling under a rusted Civic all day, and all he wanted was a hot shower and the quiet hum of his tiny one-bedroom apartment. But something, some invisible tug he could never explain, had made him text Rachel earlier, "You okay? Haven't heard from you in days." Her reply never came. That silence had gnawed at him all afternoon until he couldn't ignore it anymore. Rachel had been his best friend since freshman year at community college, back when they were both broke kids dreaming bigger than their zip code. She was the one who dragged him to free concerts in Millennium Park, who made him laugh until his ribs hurt when his dad walked out, who sat beside him at his mother's funeral and held his hand without saying a single word. She was family. The only family that had ever chosen him. He spotted her before he even reached the building. There she was, Rachel Thompson, sitting on the icy steps of her third-floor walk-up, knees pulled to her chest, a single black duffel bag beside her like a defeated soldier. Snow had already dusted her dark curls and the shoulders of her thin red coat. In her gloved hand she clutched a crumpled sheet of paper that flapped in the wind like a white flag of surrender. An eviction notice. Marcus's stomach dropped so fast he felt dizzy. "Ratch?" His voice cracked against the cold. She looked up, and the streetlight caught the shine of fresh tears on her cheeks. Those deep brown eyes that had always sparkled with mischief were now hollow, exhausted. "Marcus, go home." "I'm fine." "You're not fine." He took the stairs two at a time, boots crunching on ice. "What the hell happened?" She laughed, but it was the kind of laugh that hurts to hear, sharp, broken. "Landlord finally did it. 3 months behind. Hospital bills for my mom's cancer last year ate everything. I thought I could catch up with overtime at the diner, but they cut my hours. Surprise." She waved the notice like it was nothing, but her hand trembled. "I've got till midnight to be out. After that, it's... I don't know. Shelter maybe. Or the train station. I'll figure it out." Marcus crouched in front of her, ignoring the snow soaking through his jeans. The cold bit into his knees, but he didn't care. "You're coming with me." Rachel blinked. Once. Twice. Then she actually smiled, a tired, disbelieving smile that didn't reach her eyes. "You're funny. Always were. I'm not joking." "Marcus, stop." She stood up too fast, wobbling on the slippery step. "You've got your own life. 1 bedroom. 1 bed. You work 12-hour days. I'm not dragging you down with me. I've got pride left. Not much, but it's mine." He rose with her, towering just enough to block the wind. "Pride won't keep you warm tonight. My couch pulls out. It's yours. No arguments." She stared at him for a long moment, searching his face like she was waiting for the punchline. When it didn't come, her shoulders sagged. "You're serious?" "As a heart attack." The walk to his apartment 3 blocks away was silent except for the crunch of their boots and the distant wail of sirens. Rachel kept her head down, duffel slung over one shoulder, refusing his offer to carry it. When they finally stepped inside his small, warm living room, cluttered with car magazines, a half-dead ficus plant, and the faint smell of coffee, Rachel stood in the doorway like a ghost who didn't belong. Marcus flicked on the lights, kicked off his boots, and went straight to the linen closet. "Sheets are clean. I'll take the couch tonight. You get the bed." "No," she whispered. "I can't." "You can." He pressed the folded blankets into her arms. "And tomorrow we'll figure out the rest. 1 night at a time, Ratch. That's all." She nodded, but the tears came anyway, quiet, private tears she tried to hide by turning away. Marcus pretended not to notice. He heated up leftover chicken soup, set it on the tiny kitchen table, and watched her eat like someone who hadn't had a real meal in days. They didn't talk much. Just the clink of spoons and the low hum of the radiator fighting the Chicago winter. That first night she cried herself to sleep in his bed. Marcus heard her through the thin wall, soft, muffled sobs that tore at something deep inside him. He lay on the lumpy pull-out couch staring at the ceiling, remembering all the times she had been the strong one. When his mom died, Rachel had brought him groceries for a month without being asked. When he totaled his first car, she had driven 2 hours to pick him up and never once said, "I told you so." Now it was his turn. And he was terrified he wasn't enough. The next morning brought the first real challenge. Rachel woke before dawn, folded the blankets with military precision, and tried to slip out the door before Marcus stirred. He caught her with her hand on the knob. "Where are you going?" "Job hunting," she lied, eyes on the floor. "Can't stay here forever. It's been 12 hours, Ratch." She finally looked at him, and the shame in her eyes nearly broke him. "I'm not your charity case. I've never been anyone's burden. Not even when my mom was sick and I was working doubles. I'll find a way." Marcus stepped closer, voice gentle but firm. "Then let me help you carry it for a little while. That's what friends do. Remember? You taught me that." She stayed. But the days that followed were a slow war between her pride and his patience. She insisted on paying rent by cleaning the apartment top to bottom, cooking meals with whatever was in his fridge, and refusing any offer of money. At night she scrolled job listings on her cracked phone until the battery died, applying to anything, waitress, cashier, even night security, only to get rejection emails by morning. Marcus watched her shoulders curve inward a little more each day. He saw the way she flinched when the landlord downstairs knocked for the rent check. He noticed she stopped laughing at his dumb jokes. One evening, after she'd spent 8 hours walking the city in boots with holes, she came back soaked and defeated. Marcus had left a note on the counter, "Soup's in the fridge. Eat. Then talk to me." She read it, crumpled the paper, and for the first time since moving in, she let herself break in front of him. "I'm drowning, Marcus," she whispered, standing in the middle of his living room like a lost child. "I keep thinking if I just try harder, but I'm so tired. And I hate that I'm taking up your space. Your life." He crossed the room in 3 strides and pulled her into a hug she didn't fight. "You're not taking anything. You're giving me the chance to be the friend you always were to me. Let me do this. Please." That night they stayed up until 3 a.m. talking, really talking, for the first time since college. She told him about the fear that kept her awake, the guilt over her mother's medical debt, the way strangers on the train looked at her like she was already invisible. He told her about the nights he still dreamed of his mother's empty chair at the dinner table. For the first time in weeks, Rachel smiled a real smile when he admitted he'd kept every birthday card she'd ever sent him in a shoebox under his bed. But the challenges weren't over. Not by a long shot. 2 weeks turned into a month, and the cracks in their fragile arrangement began to show. Rachel's pride turned into quiet anger, at herself, at life, sometimes even at Marcus for being so damn kind. She started waking up before him to leave early, claiming she had interviews, but Marcus knew she was just walking the streets so she wouldn't feel like a burden. One night she came home with a split lip from slipping on black ice and refused to let him clean it. "I'm fine," she snapped, voice sharper than he'd ever heard. "You're not," he shot back, frustration finally breaking through his patience. "And pretending you are is only hurting both of us." The argument that followed was ugly. Rachel accused him of pitying her. Marcus accused her of pushing away the one person who refused to give up on her. She cried. He almost did. In the end she locked herself in the bedroom and he slept on the couch again, staring at the ceiling until the sun came up. The next morning she was gone. Marcus found the note on the kitchen table, written in her neat handwriting. "I love you too much to ruin your life. Thank you for everything. I'll be okay. Don't look for me." His heart slammed against his ribs as he grabbed his coat and ran into the snow. He checked every shelter he could think of, every diner where she'd applied, even the train station where homeless folks huddled for warmth. Hours passed. His phone died. The fear that he'd lost her forever clawed at his throat. He finally found her at 10 p.m. in the last place he thought to look, the 24-hour laundromat 2 blocks from his apartment. She was sitting on a plastic chair, staring at a washer spinning her only clothes, tears streaming down her face. When she saw him, she didn't run. "I couldn't do it," she whispered as he knelt in front of her. "I got to the shelter door and I just froze. All I could think about was your couch and how safe it felt. But I'm so scared I'll never stand on my own again." Marcus took her cold hands in his. "Then don't stand alone. We'll stand together until you can. And when you can, I'll still be right here. Because that's what family does." That night something shifted. Rachel finally let him help her apply for assistance programs she'd been too proud to touch before. Marcus used his lunch breaks to drive her to interviews. But the real turning point came on a random Tuesday when he remembered the women's shelter where his mother had volunteered years ago. He took Rachel there, not as a resident, but as a volunteer. At first she resisted. "I have nothing to give them." "You have everything," he said softly. "You've lived it." So she started 3 mornings a week, sorting donations, helping women fill out job applications, listening to stories that mirrored her own. The change was slow but breathtaking. Marcus watched her come home with color in her cheeks for the first time in months. She started laughing again, real, belly laughs, when she told him about the little girl at the shelter who drew her a picture of a house with two stick figures holding hands. "That's us," the girl had said. Rachel kept the drawing on the fridge. Then came the call that changed everything. One of the shelter's donors, a small accounting firm, needed an office assistant. They'd heard about Rachel from the shelter director. The interview was terrifying. She practiced answers in the mirror for 3 nights straight while Marcus timed her from the couch. When she got the job, part-time at first, with benefits, she cried in his arms for 20 minutes. "I did it," she whispered against his shoulder. "I actually did it." "You did," he answered, voice thick. "But we did it together." 6 months later Rachel had her own studio apartment 2 floors above Marcus's. She paid her own rent. She had health insurance. She still came down every Sunday for movie night and soup, but now she brought groceries and paid for the streaming subscription. Their friendship had deepened into something quieter, stronger, woven with gratitude and respect neither had known before. On the 1-year anniversary of that freezing night, Rachel showed up at Marcus's door with a small wrapped box. Inside was a keychain engraved with 2 simple words, "You stayed." "I thought you were joking that night," she said, eyes shining. "But you weren't. And because you didn't give up on me, I learned not to give up on myself. Thank you for the couch, and for the second chance at life." Marcus pulled her into a hug that lasted a long time. "Anytime, Rach. Anytime." And so, dear friend, here we are at the end of the story. You stayed with me, just like Marcus stayed with Rachel. Maybe you're breathing a little easier now. Maybe you're thinking of someone in your own life who needs to hear those 4 simple words, "You can stay with me." Don't wait for the eviction notice. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Kindness doesn't need a grand plan, it just needs a willing heart. Be the door that opens when the world slams every other one shut. Because somewhere out there, someone is sitting on cold steps with nowhere to go, and your yes might be the miracle that saves them. If this story lit even the smallest spark in you, do one thing for me, reach out to that person you've been meaning to check on. Tell them they matter. And remember, the world becomes softer, brighter, and infinitely more hopeful the moment we choose to stay. You've got this. I believe in you. Now go be someone's Marcus. The end.